Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Brews and Business Podcast, where we blend insightful conversations with a good brew. Today's episode is extra special as we're introducing the official coffee roaster of the Brews and Business Podcast, Gregoron Coffee Roasters. We're thrilled to have Josh Mitchell with us, the mastermind behind Gregoron Coffee Roasters. Josh just isn't a coffee expert. He's a passionate roaster, a dedicated student pastor, and someone who has turned his love for coffee into a thriving business. What makes his story even more inspiring is how coffee roasting became a healing activity for him after the tragic loss of his wife. In today's episode, we'll dive into the world of coffee, from the process of taking it from plant to cup to the art of the coffee tasting, which we've got a couple that we'll taste today via Chemex, and how Josh has managed to grow his brand on a low budget while building a strong community around his passion. So grab your favorite mug, sit back, and get ready for a conversation that is as rich and warm as the coffee in your cup.
I love it.
Dude, was that a good intro?
That was a good one.
That was great.
Well spoken. So before we get too far into it, like I told you guys, we're going to cup a few of these new coffees. But one of those, actually, let me skip that. We have a couple bags here. One is the espresso blend. It's a little bit more of a medium dark side. It's going to taste like Snickers. Any of the stuff that you guys order is always roasted to order, so it's always guaranteed fresh. This comes from various regions, so if you like a little bit more of a darker espresso, that's a good option. We have our Costa Rica one, which is kind of more or less the Brews and Business favorite right now. That one's going to change out. We'll talk about that more later, and then we'll taste the Smoky Dragon's brew today, which I don't have any details on, but the graphic on it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So curious to learn about that and curious to try it. I've smelled it. I want to smell it again, though. It's almost kind of like hitting some cocaine. I've never done that. You want to do a line of coffee beans?
Smells good.
That's hilarious. Just kidding. Hey, Josh, welcome, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Are excited. It's it's long overdue. And I was like, man, I think before we talked about it, I was like, man, we need to have Josh on, because we're over here talking about it, we were drinking it and everything. It was like, of course you're busy. We're busy, whatever it is. But I was like, we made it work now. So glad to have you here. Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you again.
So tell me a little bit about what you're doing on the coffee side of things and how's that going?
Yeah. I mean, I've been roasting probably since 2021, but I didn't really start the business till 2023. And it's always just been a fun, creative passion of mine. I like the creativity, the artist side of it. And so one of my favorite things to do is share coffee. And so I love getting new stuff, trying it myself. I love seeing other people try new stuff and be like, wow, this is way different than I've had before. Probably my favorite part about it. So
coffee connects people. It's kind of like food or pizza. Mike at Andolini's was like that too. When we were talking with him, he's like, people, when you bring pizza to a table, it usually gathers people. Like, you can't just eat a pizza. You could by yourself, but their size pizzas are massive.
Yeah, I wouldn't want any of those pizzas.
You wouldn't?
Not by myself.
No, with me.
Yeah, maybe
or Josh.
Or a third.
Yeah.
All three of us.
Maybe
we could
3
kill
people. That's
easy.
Big pizza.
They're good pizzas though. Yeah. So we're brewing something now. What are we brewing?
Yeah, we're starting off with the Costa Rica. This is actually one of my newest coffees as well. So I love it so far. You're supposed to get that front is kind of cherry cola if you can pick it up. And then the back has a little kind of tea-like. I named it hibiscus. So definitely a unique coffee. One of those, though, that people think they're not going to like because it says hibiscus. And it's like, this is weird. That's not coffee. Once you have it, everybody loves it.
It doesn't give me coffee breath.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Did you know that?
Yeah. Huh. I guess I didn't notice that until you say that now, but it is a little, it's just not as, I guess it's the acidity that stays in, and gives you that coffee breath. But I would agree with that. It's definitely it's good. I've had a few cups of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Just a few.
Just a few.
Yeah, so we actually have these available on the Brews and Biz website and Gregoran's website as well. So if you want to try this, if you like the way that we are trying it and the way that it sounds and tastes and everything too, you can order those online too. So, okay, so you are a pastor now, and you did some pastor stuff.
Yeah,
Your
I'm a
ministry
student
work,
pastor still. Yeah, work at Fellowship Bible Church in Tulsa. So I was the high school pastor. Right now, I'm doing all student pastor. So 5th grade through 12th, and yeah, love that job too. So keep him busy.
That's good. So is that out in Owasso? 'Cause that's where you're.
No, it's down in South Tulsa actually.
Okay.
So, yeah.
How long you been doing that?
Almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in October.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does something like draw you to that in particular?
To student ministry
Yeah.
or to student ministry, man. Like I felt pretty strongly about going into student ministry since I was maybe in middle school. So for me, it's a really unique thing. Some other people, it's like something catches them and they're like, I can do that.
Mm.
For me, I just felt like kind of led to do it that early on, and even went to school and stuff for it. Which honestly, like we're talking on a business podcast, all the business minds would be like, "Hey, go to school for something that you can be more universal in." And I totally understand that from like that perspective. But for me, I kind of had a goal and I went for it. And so all my degrees and everything like that is in ministry, and I have a master's in biblical languages. So I know some Hebrew and Greek. And that's actually where Gregoron comes from. So
Gregoron.
yeah.
Okay.
So Gregoron is the word wake up in Koine Greek, which means common Greek. It's the Greek that Alexander the Great brought in. And there's a passage where Jesus tells 3 of the disciples, "Hey, stay awake here. I'm going to go pray. Stay awake." And they totally fall asleep.
Well, if they just had some of this Costa Rica.
Exactly. If they had Gregoron, it would work. So that's where the name comes from. Everybody's like, that's a weird name, but I wanted the little piece of kind of my nerdy biblical language side with my coffee side, and loved how it turned out.
That's pretty cool. Were you a part of some sort of group like that whenever you were growing up that led you to want to go down that path?
I can.
That you were like,
I can pour that if you want to talk.
Yeah, sure.
Or is that something you just kind of thought of growing up? Or
can you pass it around?
Yeah,
I'll do it.
I was in a pretty healthy church / youth group growing up, so I think that probably had a big effect on it. Had one of the things in ministry in general that I think is really always beneficial is when you have kind of a culture of people looking after those that are a little younger than them, and having an attitude of like, we're here to help mentor them as well. And I really had that. So there's people like 4 years, that looks awesome. 4 years
like a priest
older than me that were totally keeping me under their wings. So
nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blood of Christ. Just kidding. I guess to some or in a format, I guess it could be. Whatever. If needed to be in the right circumstance, it could be.
Right.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Very cool, man. I've always wondered, how people end up in that world. My little brother, he's a Jehovah's Witness, and he's kind of climbing in that church or religion, whatever you want to call it. And I kind of just asked him, like, how does that happen? How far? And the other day I was like, so at what point do you get paid? And he's like, you don't get paid. I'm like, what? And it's just different, and it makes you wonder. But like you said, some people and like him, he's like, I just kind of always knew I wanted to do this. And I'm like, that's crazy. You have like 6 other siblings, and you're literally the last one, and you just always knew, and the rest of us ran away. That's like really weird. But it's just weird to us. But like you said, it's like that for some people, right? So I always just wondered how that goes. And now a follow-up question that you said most of your schooling and stuff, like you weren't specific. Is there specific schools you have to go to get that type of degree, or is that like just a series of credits that you get at a normal college?
I would say if you want a degree like that, you probably should go to one. In theory, like the big liberal arts schools are going to have some form of degrees. They might not be kind of, usually you come from a denominational background and you're kind of going, this is the type of schooling I want, so I can teach in that same realm. Mm-hmm. So when that comes into play, usually you're not going to like Duke because your goal is to be in the church. But there are people who might go to Duke because their goal is to be teaching, right? Being a professor, and you want kind of a more broad perspective, and it gets you in the doors to a lot of other places.
Gotcha.
You can keep going without me because Devin had to step away to go get a trash can.
Oh, okay.
So we lost our camera switcher.
Oh, that's
So
okay.
you're just going to hear the sound of my voice if you're watching the YouTube video.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay.
The sound
Well, yeah, like I
of
said,
my voice.
I was just wondering, and so it sounds like you started being a pastor and started your coffee love kind of like at the same time. Am I mistaken there?
Well, no, actually, so I started at this church 2021. I've been doing youth ministry since 2012.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so over what is that, 12 years now?
Very cool.
You want some, Devin?
Yeah, I'm at that age where a lot of youth ministers are kind of starting to be like,
You can grab a
hey,
trash
maybe
can
I'll
too.
be
I'll serve you up.
I'll not do youth ministry anymore because they're kind of aging out, not
Right.
getting used. And I totally don't know all the lingo at this point, especially Gen Alpha. It's
Right.
just like somebody said skibbity,
Thank you.
and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Skibbity toilet Ohio Rizzler. And you're like, what
There it is,
are
right
you
there.
talking about? Dude, my boys.
Yeah. I
Right,
don't know
that
what
ain't
any of
right
that
now.
is.
Yep. So,
Well, hopefully by the time your daughters are old enough to like talk like
They
that.
talk like humans.
They talk like, yeah.
Well, I don't know. I hear all that, and we had a conversation earlier. It's funny we always end up on this whole family thing, but earlier
that look about
at
right?
work, that looks
yeah, it looks
delicious.
great. Mhm.
We were talking about how the average, I said millennial. I don't really know who it encompasses. It. I think it encompasses a lot of us, but they expect things to happen so much faster, and I say that because it's like they use a different language. They think things a little differently. And today, talking to my little brother, and he's like 21, and he's like, well, a year and a half, that's a long time. And I'm like, dude, a year and a half is a blink of an eye.
Oh my God, it goes by so fast.
That's a long time to be waiting. I'm like, well, what are you waiting for? Well, that's a long time to be. I was like, well, what exactly are you waiting for? Because you're expecting to go 5 years in a career in a year and a half. Yeah, that's absolutely possible. But you're not going to like the amount of work that you're going to have to do to get that done. And, it's just a reality because, and I'm like, and that's our fault. Because, I mean, you want something, you order on Amazon, you'll have it in 2 days. You don't have to wait the 7 to 10 day shippings like we did growing up.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Go ahead.
You ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to pour you guys a cup.
Let's do it.
This is the Costa Rica Brews and Biz blend. It's not even a blend. It's a single origin by Gregoron Coffee Roasters, the official Brews and Business
I'm ready.
podcast sponsor of roasting stuff. There's the pour. Oh my God, I'm so distracted right now. I can't even think. All right, this is Devin's. There you go, Devin. That's yours.
Oh, it's
Cheers.
delicious.
It does look delicious. And cross that over. There you go. It's hot. You can keep going when you're ready.
Thank you, sir. But yeah, just that change, right? Of you say you don't know the lingo, and it's like, right, but there's a whole culture that we're dealing with here. Like these kids expect these things tomorrow, and it's like, and that's our fault. Like, you don't like commercials, well, you just pay for no commercials. You don't like this, and it's like, well, that's crazy. Where we didn't have that option growing up. Like the best thing that we had back then that we don't have now is you didn't have to wait for video games to load up. They just loaded up. And now you got to do updates, and it's got to load up and all this BS. Back in the day, you just started playing. Is it good?
Smell it. Just cup it.
Oh,
Nose.
it's good.
Put your nose. Dive your nose into it, and I want you to just get a good huff. What do you smell? What's it smell like?
Coffee.
Oh no, it's got to smell like something.
I just washed my hands. It smells like the soap.
Get those hands out of the
ruined
way.
it. Get the hands out of the way.
It smells delicious. I don't know. I don't smell anything else.
It smells light. You said this should have a little bit of the hibiscus stuff in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe a tad bit of that. But the cherry cola part, I did try this, so it's a little bit of a. But the cola part, I tasted.
What's awesome is
Was that too much?
you're actually, if you watch any like coffee experts video of him tasting, you're gonna hear that.
Yeah, you got to. It's slurping. You aerate the coffee, and then you're supposed to switch it and allow it sit on your palate. So like, in case you guys missed it.
Well, I don't know. I've told you I drink, a cup or two of these. I know it's good. I don't sip it like that, but I do drink it with black every day. That's just delicious.
You drink it black?
Yeah.
No.
Well,
this is delicious.
I've just gotten to the point
this.
where it's just not even worth the time adding sugar or anything.
Devin,
just
feel free to
drink it black.
chime in if you want to talk about the coffee you're trying back there. So we've added a mic to Devin. In case you guys don't know, Devin has been managing the back end of the Brews and Business podcast, and so while we're recording, switching to different camera angles and stuff like that too. So we added a mic back there. You may never know what he looks like unless you like go back and find him on a couple episodes.
That's right.
but he kind of looks like Braden.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Dude,
It's
people
light.
all the time, they're like, "Are you guys twins? You guys must be brothers, right?" Yeah.
What you got?
No, it's good. It's light. I'm not a huge coffee connoisseur like Braden
Braden?
is, but it's good.
But I drink it. Yeah.
So that Costa Rica is a lactic anaerobic fermentation, semi-washed.
Yeah, that's like when you read that out, you're just like, what? It's a lot going on.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, there's a whole with that specific one. There's a chemical process that they kind of push it through, and it's like a certain time period. They're putting it in like different containers for a certain amount of hours to do different things to it. So lactic doesn't have anything to do with milk. It's like the more the chemical.
They're like, "Did they wash it with milk?"
But yeah, it's wild what there's so many processes that I don't really fully understand, because even I'd say 10 15 years ago, most people only did washed process, because it was just considered cleanly. So like for instance, you take the wash processes, you pick, and I'm going with this a little bit, but you pick the coffee cherries from the tree. Some people don't realize that they're cherries, and the beans are the seeds. And so you those cherries washed is basically where they throw it all in a vat, and they flush out the cherries so that they leave just the others, and then they put those on racks and dry them out. So that's the typical process, but that usually gets you the most kind of simple tones. You're going to get like chocolate, nutty, a lot of the more basic things. And then as time went on, a lot of people were like, hey, we want to see some fruity coffees, some flowery coffees.
Blueberry,
Yep.
lavender.
Exactly.
Some of those you can
It's
really
crazy.
pull out. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've had some. Yeah.
According to ChatGPT, an anaerobic environment, after harvesting, the cherries are placed in sealed tanks or fermentation vessels that create an anaerobic, oxygen-free environment. This is different from traditional fermentation, where the process occurs in open air. Fermentation, inside the sealed tanks, naturally occurring bacteria, particularly lactic acid bacteria, begin to break down the sugars in the coffee cherries. This creates lactic acid as a byproduct, hence the name lactic anaerobic fermentation. The lactic acid bacteria thrive in the anaerobic conditions, leading to a slow, controlled fermentation process that can last for several hours to even days. The lactic acid produced during the fermentation contributes to the development of complex flavors in the coffee, often resulting in fruity, bright, and slightly tart notes. In this case, it has helped develop the cherry cola and hibiscus tasting notes.
There you go.
Semi-washing. So after fermentation, the beans are semi-washed, which means some of the sticky layer surrounding the bean is removed, but not completely. This helps retain some of the unique flavors during the development during fermentation. And then they're dried in the sun or using mechanical dryers to reduce the moisture content to a stable level to preserve some of those flavors. And then roasted by yours truly,
There you go.
Josh.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
That was cool. That was new to me too.
Yeah.
That made me think of like, if you let a milk jug rot closed or open.
One of the things that I like really love about coffee, cigars, and whiskey in particularly, is there's so much creative freedom in all those.
Mhm.
Like from from like the seed all the way to when it touches your lips, the whole process there's so many variables that can be changed, and how long and how short and how much or how less, or I don't know, maybe we add this or take this away or do a little bit more percentage of whatever it is. Like with cigars, one of my favorites is comes from 2 different continents, and the fillers from one place and the binders from another. And so it's different than just like if you just had one cigar from Dominica or from wherever. Same thing with
What
coffee.
blending
Like
of
coffee,
flavors.
it tastes different wherever it comes from,
Mhm.
different parts of the world.
Yeah, soil elevation. It's crazy.
I feel like I
what
traveled to
crops
Costa
are
Rica.
traveling around? Like what crops might be close by?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This
Yeah.
is, have you seen these? This ember mug?
No, not that specific one.
So it's keeping it at a perfect 135 degrees.
Mm.
Bougie. I didn't buy it.
That is
It was a
little
birthday
bougie.
present.
I saw you had like on
like-
your espresso machine. You had a fellow like cappuccino mug or like a little cortado mug maybe.
I
And
love cortados.
The fellow mugs are wonderful.
So anytime I travel, and especially when there's a new coffee shop, which I'll mention Perea here in a minute. Perea is Greek for the gathering of friends. I love that coffee shop. They got a 9.2 on their cortados when I went there yesterday. It's an amazing cortado. So them, Nordagios, and Double Shot are my top threes now. Lorne is another good one too. But I rate all these coffee shops based on their cortados because it's equal parts espresso and steamed milk. And so you can get a good idea of the quality of the espresso and the barista's skills on how they steam the milk. And whether or not did they burn it? Did they under steam it? Or is it too much foam? Or is it did they put in equal parts espresso and milk? Because a lot of times, like I'll get a cortado and it'll be like nearly a latte, and I'm like, this is a latte now. This is not a cortado. It's different. So, but it's cool. I love going around and trying different coffee shops and stuff like that.
You're a coffee nerd.
I love it.
Yeah,
I wish I
It
need
makes
to
good coffee though.
I need to spend more time like actually studying and knowing my shit like this. Like I couldn't explain that to you without ChatGPT. like luckily I had that and I explained that, which I'm learning too. So while I'm a snob, I can't tell you about the process.
I understand. You're one of the fake ones. I get it.
Yep.
Yeah. This guy knows his science.
Yeah, it is.
only a small amount too. Because what's funny is like I'll get something first and I'll be like, that just sounds awesome, and then people start asking me about it, and I'm like, okay, I need to actually know exactly what I'm talking about. So that happens too.
I think that's
we're all human, right?
Yeah, right. That's exactly what I was going to say. Is I think that's a general, just a general feeling for anybody once they really start to take off in their business or anything like that. Is like, so for instance, I knew initial basic shrubs, that most people are like kind of know what that is just by the name, right? And then as you progress, you got to get better because people are asking, you don't know. Well, you're unprofessional.
I'm sorry, is that too much?
Yeah, you're having so much fun with that.
A little bit much. So does that thing have a battery in it or something?
Yeah. It's got a coaster that it recharges on. So if you look underneath, there's these little golden rings that it sits on and charges.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. It lasts for a good couple hours, which is enough to have a cup of coffee or 6.
Yeah, of you. I mean, yeah, my one cup. I almost never finish my cup of coffee every day, but that's because I walk away and then I'm at work. And
they have these in different
it's
sizes,
hot
and even
outside.
like I think not tumblers, but like travel mug style too, where you can recharge them, you plug them in, and then your coffee's always hot. Because I
It's
mean,
different.
unless you
You're at your
intentionally
desk.
want iced coffee.
Yeah, but you're at your desk where it's like cold in here, dude. I walk outside and it's 100 degrees for 5 minutes. I'm not coming inside to drink 100-degree coffee. Where's my water? I need my ice water. It's different.
Or iced coffee.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Iced
you could
water.
make this into an iced coffee too. This would actually be a good iced coffee. I haven't made it in a cold
It
brew
probably
yet.
would be excellent. My favorite way to make iced coffee it's called the Japanese style iced coffee. I don't know if you've had it before. You basically put the cubes in wherever you're brewing. So it might be a little harder on the Chemex, but like whatever you're going to brew onto, you brew it directly onto it. And so if you can measure out, this is where it gets really, talking about variables, but you measure out your water to bean ratio and you kind of include the ice in that. It's real good. Like you can make something really nice. I don't know if you've ever used an AeroPress before, but
Yeah.
you could do
I don't have one.
an AeroPress right onto it. It's excellent.
You want to get our next one set up? Because we're about to run through this one.
Right.
About to run out. Dude, I slipped my finger open on a condenser unit. I was cleaning it out.
That's what you get for trying to be a man. Don't you know you're supposed to hire those, Braden?
I have clients that do that. But it's not my property.
I'm
so
just kidding.
It's fine.
That's
Hey,
always just proof that you were doing your manly shit at home.
dude. Now that we're men,
Hey, but that
we have
condenser
hair
was filthy, dude.
regions.
I saw it. That was filthy.
It was.
Your AC was probably hating you, like struggling, dude.
My electric bill was out the ass.
That's what's out the ass. How big is your house? 3,000 square feet?
No, 2,000.
Oh, okay.
3,000 square feet. Damn, man.
I mean, your house.
Maybe 2,000? 1,800? 1,700?
Okay.
Something like that. Hey, football's coming up, and so let's think about drawing some parallels between business departments and football.
Okay, can you give me a rundown on football?
Okay.
I know football.
What do you mean, a rundown? Like,
I'm just kidding.
okay, here's your breakdown. Okay, so your quarterback
Yes.
is your CEO or your founder. Your offensive line is your operations team. Your wide receivers are your sales and marketing team. Your running backs are your product development and service delivery. Your linebackers are finance. Defensive backs are human resources. Tight ends are customer support and client relations. Kicker, punter, marketing communications. Coaching staff, middle management. And the team owner is the board of directors or investors. So just like a football team, a business requires all parts of it to work together cohesively, and each department plays a specific role that contributes to the overall success of the business. And understanding these roles can help create a more effective and aligned organization. So when everyone knows their position and works towards the common goal, that's when the magic really happens, both on the field and in business. It's true, though, right?
I mean, I like it. I definitely like it. I can see the parallels.
Oh, you're going to let me bloom it, too? I'll do it. Heck yeah.
Whoa. I don't know. I like it. I don't know enough about football to really,
I'll trade you.
but I get it.
Look at some of the examples in those.
I got you.
In the roles.
I will. I got
because
you.
I think it'll make a little bit more sense too.
So when you said football, you weren't kidding. You actually do like soccer.
No, I don't
No.
like sports. I'm not a sports guy at all.
And we said football, not football.
Right. Hey, you guys know what they call kickball in Spanish? Take a guess. Come on, you got take a real guess. Devin, I want to hear your guess too. And don't be looking it up.
Okay, here, get this on.
Like the game kickball. Like,
Yes. What do they call the game kickball in Spanish in Mexico?
And before you answer that question, we'll go to a quick break where I'll show you this blend that we're making now. Whatever, it's not a blend. I keep using that word. Smoky Dragon's
This
Brew.
one actually is.
This is an actual blend. This looks like a Dragon Ball Z character, though.
I know.
Is it?
It's kind of
It's
like
not.
so. Yeah, my
That doesn't look like you either.
yeah. I got it. Does not look like me. Yeah.
You see that?
So this one was a collab with a friend of mine who does art, comic style art like that, and so it's got his name. His name is Zach Zellers. He does those kind of designs. So he made a specific one. You can see he's got like the Gregoron shirt on it.
I saw
and there's like
that.
a
Yeah.
smoky dragon kind of
Yeah, I saw
being
that.
punched into it.
Yeah.
Super
I see
cool.
it.
So yeah, there's only 100 labels made, so it's a limited stock kind of thing, but it's between 3 African coffees, an Ethiopia, a Zambia, and a Tanzania.
So typically African coffees to me are a lot more earth and a lot more dirt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you typically get a lot more flowery stuff. The
flowery,
further,
yeah.
further south, the more earthy. Further north and east, more flowery and sometimes fruity, especially the Ethiopia. The Ethiopia in there, like if I roasted that on its own, it would get the blueberry notes. But because I'm roasting it darker and with the other two, it has kind of this dried fruit, but mainly really smoky kind of, like it's a really bold cup. It's one of those that like goes good with bacon, I would say.
The blood of Christ. The wrong time to do it. I'm sorry. Devin was going to answer a question.
What's foot in Spanish?
What's foot? Yeah.
Pie?
Yeah. Yeah. Tu pie?
Are you peeing?
Your foot?
I'm gonna go with bien ball.
Yeah, ball? Okay. Brayden?
I don't know.
Josh? Come on.
The stuff that's going through my
Kickball.
head is like kind of
You guys are overthinking it. It's foot base.
It's probably kickball.
Foot base.
foot base.
Foot base.
Foot base
Foot base.
is what?
Kickball.
Let's call it foot base.
In
Foot
Spanish?
base. Yeah. If you ask Mexicans to play kickball, they're gonna look at you like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
No,
But if you
play
say,
foot
"Hey, you
base.
want to go play foot base?" Like, "Hey, yeah, let's go play foot base."
Dude,
I learned that Friday, and I was like, "Wait, you guys are messing with me, right?" Like, no, I'm like, "That's so simple. Why don't we call it foot base?"
I haven't played kickball in a minute.
Oh, dude, we had a
I
good.
would love to play some
We got
kickball.
whooped.
Devin, you want to bring
We
your
could,
glass
we
over
could
here,
play
sir?
kickball on Sunday. Oh, the boys are gonna be gone.
Dude, I'm excited to come see your new place. Congratulations on that. That's a
Excited
big
to have you guys.
that's a big step, dude.
Now I got to go home and clean and shit. Thanks for nothing.
Okay, I'm gonna get this my own camera. Right here. There we go. Bam, here we go. Here's your pour.
Looks cool in a glass cup.
Dude, this thing is so thin. It's not even funny.
The Chemex pouring too is really nice. Thanks.
Sorry, I just thought you guys would like to learn some Spanish today that you guys
Oh.
could actually use and remember.
the
Oh, that smells
sound.
good.
Here, a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I could use waking up.
Yeah, so this one, yeah, you can tell a big difference between the two that we just had.
Mm-hmm.
Because the last one's like all very subtle. You can tell it's light. You can tell it's almost kind of tea-like. And this one, you're just like, yeah,
Feel
that's
that
coffee.
punch in the face.
Yeah.
That's
This one,
good.
I imagine if I was going camping,
Mhm.
I'd
Yeah.
want
That's what I
something
was
a
gonna say.
little. So this one's darker.
Mhm.
Is this a dark roast?
Yeah, this is a definite dark roast. So my espresso, what I do when you're roasting, there's basically some tells to how dark and light it is. The first one is called first crack, and where you start to hear the beans pop about 200 degrees Celsius on average. And then there's second crack, which is about 230 degrees
It
Celsius.
sounds like popcorn.
Yeah, yeah, it does. And so when you see that happening, my espresso, I take it off right as I hear the first time of second crack. Like I just don't get it any darker. But that one, I let several of them go off.
Speaking of popcorn, now I taste popcorn. I don't know why.
Isn't that crazy that
I haven't
you know
tried
you
it
can,
yet. It still smells so good.
the fun of tasting notes in general is you can make people kind of go, oh yeah, that's there, even though they might have not thought of it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's funny when we're doing the whiskey tastings. It's funny. Me and John will have we'll talk about it and stuff sometimes beforehand or after or whatever, and he'll be like, "Do you taste that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do," but I'm trying to educate my palate because not everyone
Mhm.
right off the bat can just be like, "Oh yes, that's blueberry and earthy greens, and it smells like," you know, like sometimes like. And you have to educate your palate, an educated palate, right? Okay, so that's cool that I knew about the roast when you roast the beans in the cracks, but I didn't know the
Mhm.
temperatures, so that's cool. Curious to know about your setup too, but shoot, there's something else I was thinking about. Anyways, I'll come back around. But the
Yeah.
setup you've got,
Yeah, so I started back whenever it was a hobby in 2021. I actually, what's funny is I had a pretty nice mandolin that I barely used, and I sold it, and I was like, I want some kind of hobby. I just had my son, and I was like, I need a hobby that's like working with my hands, not something that's like playing video games. That was kind of the thing. And so got this really tiny, it roasts a fourth a pound at a time, and it's like basically one of our Brews and Business bags, and it looks like a clear cylinder, glass cylinder that shoots air up, kind of like a people use popcorn poppers, by the way. Like there's a lot of people who
Yep.
start out roasting, and that's what they
on their
use.
stove.
So it kind of looks like that. It's got a shaft collector on the top because the beans kind of peel off chaff as they are roasting. And I had that for for probably a full year. And one of my buddies, who he lives out in Hawaii, and I shipped him a bag one time just to be like, you should try this. Him and his wife had it, and they were like, dude, this is the best stuff we've had. We want you to like send us a big bulk shipment, so we're not going crazy on shipping costs. And so he was like, how much for like 4 pounds? And I was like, well, the problem is for me to do 4 pounds, I'm doing a fourth a pound at a time, and that's like 15 minutes per roast. Like that's a lot of time just to get 4 pounds of these guys. So I told him about it, and he was like, dude, how much to get you like a roaster just double that size? And I pitched it to him, and he's like, we're going to front you the money so you could get that. And so I ended up getting a second roaster for a half pound and running them both side by side. So I was doing 3/4 a pound at a time. And still, like, I would start roasting for a business or something, and I'd put in like 4 hours easy at night. I roast at night after my son goes to sleep. And so eventually, after about 6 months in business, I was doing enough roasting that I was like, I need to go a lot bigger. And so I got a 2.2 pound roaster. It's called an Alio Bullet.
Alio Bullet.
Yeah.
Is that like Italian or something?
It's like Taiwanese or something like that. But it's actually really, really well known in the roasting community because a lot of big roasters, obviously they're gonna have some really big, you can do like 30 to 50 pounds at a time. But a lot of them will use the Alio Bullet as their testing roaster. So like when they're wanting to really dial in, what do I want this to look like? And then they'll go to the big one. So but for me, it's my main one. So that's kind of the setup. I've got like a ventilation system that goes. I roast in my garage right now, so it's a like ventilation system that shoots it outside and all the smoke because there's quite a bit of smoke. And yeah, don't try to roast just on your stovetop with no ventilation. That would be brutal. Which I did do that one time. Like whenever I first was like, I want to see what coffee roasting is because I'd experienced it in Ethiopia on a mission trip, seeing like people do it front hand, like right in front of you, roasting on over a fire. And I was like, I'm gonna replicate that. Came home, put it on the stovetop, like set off all the fire alarms. For like 3 weeks, everybody's clothes smelled like coffee, and you think, oh, that's awesome. No, not for 3 weeks, where it's just like like you go in a Subway and it's like overpowering the rest of
Yep.
the afternoon.
Yep.
Same situation.
Well, I don't know if you've ever like really took in like put your nose inside of a bag and gave it like a really good huff up the nose. Like sometimes it'll stick there.
Mhm.
Certain beans will, and it'll ruin your nose for like a few days.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
I try to put a practice. I was taught in like chemistry school not to do the whiff, not to stick your nose right in it. So yeah, pretty safe there.
We should all whiff coffee.
I remember that was always big. Make
In
sure you-
chemistry, they're like, "No, put
Yes.
your nose in it."
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, so tell me about the football things. Start with the CEO one. The
Oh
quarterback.
man. Okay, so you got your quarterback as the leader in the field, making crucial decisions, directing the play, and ensuring that the team stays focused on the goal. Right. Similarly, the CEO and the founder is a visionary leader who sets the strategic direction for the company, makes key decisions, and motivates the team toward achieving business objectives. Honestly, I kind of like that because I do see that a lot in us.
Mhm.
I don't understand the whole football role entirely, right? But I do see how a lot of the success of any business kind of falls down on that quarterback, right? On the CEO. Because how many times do you see it where, the team's kind of giving up and then the quarterback's like, well, we'll give it one last little bit. You guys are sports guys. I'm not. But I've been in that world where you're around people and that one person decides that I'm going to, come on, guys, we can do this. And then they pull through, right? And I had a perfect example today where my little brother, he's kind of got this crazy goal. And I know it's kind of a crazy goal, but I set it for him because I knew it was crazy. And then on top of that, instead of saying, well, I know it's crazy and so on and so forth, I just like, hey, if you can do that, I'll give you $100 cash. And he's like, what? So now instead of demoralizing him, now he's even more, more enthusiastic about such goal. And it's like sometimes as a CEO or the quarterback, you find ways to do that for your team. You find ways to make those things happen. And looking at that too is like right now we just hired our first sales guy. We got some plans coming for the
Same.
future.
Well,
And
not my first.
well, it won't be my first either, but the first I think very serious one. But nonetheless, it's like looking at that as the quarterback, as the CEO. Sometimes you have to step back and realize, like up to this point for me, and it's crazy because I just realized it today. We did a scorecard, right? Every Friday we have our level 10, and today
You got to show me how to do that.
yeah,
'Cause
well,
I'm trying.
oh, dude,
We've tried for months. I can't figure out how to do a
oh
scorecard.
man, you know what we did? We just started it and we've changed it. Who knows how many times because it wasn't right. But now it's just almost on that second crack, right?
Mhm.
It's
There
just
you
like
go.
almost there, man. It's almost there. Now we've been doing
The
it
crack.
for well over a year, so it's taken time. But nonetheless, we did our scorecard today, and it was kind of like an eye-opening experience because up until this point, I felt like I couldn't do anything in the business because I was busy making sales. I was chasing that next dollar, and it needs to happen, right, for growth. And as the CEO, as a quarterback, you're kind of like, man, I know that has to be done. I know that has to be done. I know that has to be done. But after all of this thinking and so on and so forth, I'm like, I got to hire somebody to help me make sales. I can't do this anymore. And
Well,
I got
it's also scary too. Like when you're the only sales guy, that's an
Right.
issue.
right. It
Because
is absolutely
you're
an
the
issue.
one that's keeping everyone employed.
Exactly.
Like if you're
and
sick, if you die,
dude, it's rough.
like
It's rough, right? And that reality hit me, and it's like, well, what do you got to do? You can sit around as a quarterback, and you can say, hey, that's it, I'm done, right? The game's over. Or you can say, guys, we got to make some shifts, we got to do some stuff because we got to make it through here. And with that, we hired on a sales guy, and now that he's here, it's posed all kinds of new issues that are good issues to have, but they're issues that are like, okay, more reality of you have an idea, you got to make some shifts. you made a play, and now you're looking at the play, and you're like, okay, how do I reshift now?
Yep.
Because now he's here and he's kicking ass. But this week, I didn't actually send any proposals. He sent out $20,000 worth of proposals, which is fantastic. And realistically, we both need to be sending proposals, and he's training, so we're kind of, it's a give situation at the moment. But that reality is like, hey, now what does that plan look like as far as marketing and advertising to make sure that this one sales guy turns into two, these two sales guys turn into three, and so on and so forth.
These social media ads that we're running for another landscaper,
Yeah.
that's your problem.
Okay.
So you got to help you.
Yeah.
Because I know what's working.
Okay.
And I'll help you out.
Well, perfect. Because I had that conversation a little bit, and
I know it's working in the industry right now.
I planned on being here earlier today, but I got a little tied up. But yes, I actually.
If you let me
did plan
run
on
some
texting.
ads, we'll crush it.
Dude, I
bring in some leads. You know what I mean?
already have a budget for it.
Okay,
It's already
good.
given. It's already green lighted.
All right.
So we can make it happen.
So
But
I love-
nonetheless, quarterback, CEO, right?
Yep.
You got to relate to your next team. You depend on the rest of your team. You can't do it all yourself.
Well, and I like how we're talking about this from our last episode with Eric Conkle, the TU head coach, TU basketball head coach, and the classic saying, "There's no I in team," and he's basically the CEO of the team and or the quarterback, if you would. But even then, I mean, not really. I mean, I would probably say that like the team leader on
So
the team is probably more like that, but.
I was
don't
looking
know.
at that, and again, I don't really understand, football.
This is to try to help put it in correlation and
Right,
mindset for the people that
right.
are like, oh yeah, well,
Right.
because there is, you have to be able to
Because you can't replace the quarterback, man. I
can't
wanna
replace
be
the quarterback, but you
replaceable.
can't replace. You have to coordinate everyone on this.
Well,
And
I
you have to get
understand
them
that,
all in line to be able to get towards the same
but you
direction.
can never be replaced. As a business owner, do you want to be in that position? Because I don't.
To what? Be replaced?
To not be able to be replaced.
I want to be fired. Yeah.
Exactly. You can't fire the quarterback. The team goes down. The team goes to shit.
Not unless they find a better one.
Okay, and I understand that,
Dude,
but the
yeah.
quarterback
Yeah,
doesn't find the better quarterback.
Okay, we're getting too far into the weeds. Offensive line is like operations. Okay, so the offensive line protects the quarterback and creates opportunities for the offense to execute plays. They are crucial to the success of every play, but often work behind the scenes. Similarly, the operations team ensures that the day-to-day activities of the business run smoothly, handle logistics, processes, and supply chain management.
That's your key right there.
You need them.
That's 100% key.
And then you need your wide receivers. You need someone who's responsible for catching passes, making big plays to advance the ball down the field, often scoring touchdowns, as they should, right? Often scoring. They should be frequently scoring touchdowns. If they're not, they're in a bad position, right? Move them out. The sales and marketing team is akin to wide receivers, as they are tasked with generating leads, closing deals, and bringing in revenue. They work on the front lines to capture the attention of customers and drive business growth. I see the correlation. Do you like football? You know football?
Honestly, football is not my main sport.
Devin, you get it?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
I think the only thing I think is kind of what Abel said. Like the quarterback doesn't replace himself. Oh, can you hear me? The quarterback doesn't replace himself. So I was like, I would think the coach, like the head coach, is more of like the business owner, and then like the players are more positions within the company.
Yeah. So like the team owners, like the board of directors, investors, to some point they oversee.
Other than that, it makes sense.
But the correlations do make sense in the aspect of like you need these people, right? And
there's
for instance,
specific roles.
And right now with Josh, dude, he's the whole team, right?
As you guys were talking, I was thinking that. I was like, oh shoot.
Yeah, no,
You're the coach, you're the quarterback,
because
you're the
it's all
running
we were
fine
all
and
there.
dandy. It's all fine and dandy when you get started, and
Right.
then you're like,
right.
oh shoot, I've been doing this for sometimes it starts out a hobby, and sometimes it takes off, but sometimes it doesn't. But either way, you're like, where do I need to end? Because I will expire. This will end. This will expire. Somebody needs it. I either need to build it to where I can fire myself and someone can buy it from me and run it, and it runs itself. So in order to make a business valuable, it has to be able to run itself. No one wants to buy your business and really have to work in it unless they really want to. No one really wants to. They want to buy it and let it run itself and then take the profits. That's the whole point of going into business and being a business owner.
Right.
I'm gonna run through the rest of these roles real quick, and then we'll do the cards. These cards are cool, and then you can explain that we just started doing them in case someone doesn't know.
Go ahead, I got this.
Your running backs, product sale, product development, and service delivery. The running backs are versatile players who advance the ball by running through the defense. The defense are catching short passes. They must be agile, quick, and able to adapt to different situations. In business, the product development or service delivery team is like running backs. They are responsible for delivering the products or services that move the company forward. Your linebackers are the defensive leaders who protect the field from the opposing team's offense. making tackles and stopping plays. The finance team, like linebackers, guards the company's financial health, monitors budgets, manages expenses, and ensures the company remains financially sound and protects from risk. Defensive backs are crucial in preventing big plays by the opposing team, intercepting passes, and providing coverage. Similarly, the HR department protects the company by ensuring compliance with labor laws, handling employee relations, and maintaining a healthy workplace culture. They are the last line of defense in preventing issues that could harm the company. Tight ends are versatile players who can block like linemen, but also catch passes like receivers. They are critical in both offense and defensive situations. Customer support and client relation teams act like tight ends, balancing the need to address customer concerns, defensive, and maintaining strong positive relations that drive customer satisfaction and loyalty, offensive. The kicker is often called upon to score points with field goals or extra points, and the punter helps to control the field position. They play a specialized but crucial role. The marketing communications team is similar, responsible for crafting messages that resonate with the audience, managing public relations, and creating content that drives engagement and brand awareness. There's two left. The coaching staff develops game plans, strategizes during the game, and ensures that players are executing the plan effectively. Middle management, like the coaching staff, bridges the gap between the executive team and employees, ensuring that the company's strategies are implemented successfully and that teams are functioning efficiently. The team owner provides the resources and overarching direction for the team, ensuring its long-term success. And similarly, the board of directors or investors provide the capital, guidance, and governance needed for the company to thrive and grow.
Love it.
That's cool.
That's
cool. Kind of nerded out a little bit. I like that.
You need to build a whole game plan for your business based off of
football.
I was just
well,
kind
if
of
you
based
notice,
off of baseball.
so
but not
imagine if
really.
you ran your business like you did basketball, baseball, football, soccer, like those sports and those positions.
Yeah.
They really haven't changed since the game started. Like you've always had your quarterbacks, your wide receivers, your tight ends, your offensive, your defensive, your linebackers. You know what I mean? You've always had those positions. Why haven't, no one's came in and been like, we need to add a new position. We need 12 players on the field, not 11. We need, instead of having however many people are in, how many people are in basketball? Is it
10.
7, 10?
Five on team.
No, it's 5.
5 on each team. Right.
Yeah.
10 for
So I was like 10.
on the whole.
No one came in and was like, we need 4 now. And we need to change the title of these. Like that hasn't happened as far as I know.
Mhm.
If you're watching or listening to this, let me know if I'm wrong. I want to know.
I mean, tennis and pickleball, definitely the newest one.
So those
That
are some
got
new,
changed.
but there's always going to be like some new sporting
Mhm,
activity
mhm.
that'll be created. But these traditional ones,
Right.
they haven't changed.
Right.
So like there's some method to the madness that can be applied to like what we're doing. And even and Leslie and I've been talking about this too, about running our household like a business. And like I'm the CEO, she's the integrator. Like she's the integrator, and like the kids would be certain things. And how like we need to have like our monthly family meetings, and we need to have like me and her need to have like our monthly financial meetings or whatever, and we need to instill core values and stuff like that into our kids. And what do we want them to remember us by? Well, what do we want our grandkids, and what's the legacy and the core value side, and how we're raising our kids, and how do they what are they going to remember now? What did they remember over the last 10 years, and what do we want them to remember over the next 10 years? Because that's all we got. Like we're halfway there before they are fully functioning, hopefully fully functioning, capable adults in society.
They'll be fully functioning. They're
like
good kids.
you're a quarter of the way there.
Well, at least for the top 2, the little ones, the little 2s.
Yeah.
She'll be fine.
So, all right. So we're getting pretty close on time here, but let's talk about
Okay.
this.
Oh man, I just got my coffee again. How you gonna do this to me, Britt? I'm just kidding. All right, Josh.
You want to let him pull a card? You want to pull
You
it?
want to pull a card?
Yeah,
Any
what do
card?
I do?
Just pull any card. These there's a podcast, I think, or something like that.
It's a podcast.
Anyways,
in
these
Europe.
questions are amazing. Some of them are business, some of them are family.
Wait. You got to pull the one in the front.
Oh,
because
is that the case?
we're filtering
Oh.
them through.
Sorry, I guess you get to pull a card, any card, as long as it's the one in
Oh
the front.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, so for those of you guys who don't know, this is the Diary of a CEO conversation cards. The whole point of these is to empower true human connection. We got these from a podcast out of Europe. If you haven't heard about it, go look them up on TikTok. Really cool podcast, some real good conversations. And the part of the Brews and Business podcast is we want to make sure that we are opening up the curtains and having some of these real conversations that relate to each other.
Yep.
We're all human. We're all dealing with the same things, maybe at different points in time in our life, but hopefully some of these conversations that we have impact with you. So we want to have some of that vulnerability, which we'll talk about in our next episode. So
Okay.
Go ahead, boss.
So this says, what is your definition of luck? And I'm answering. Is that the
We're all answering.
Okay.
If you'd like to go first, that would be encouraged.
Well, the dangerous side of this is you're asking a minister what their definition of luck is, which I could get really, really in a whole different realm.
I got it.
So-
I actually was just listening to the 9-Figure Mindset book, which I will be listening to it again. If you haven't listened to it, Mother of God, listen to that book, watch or read it. Either one. Freaking love that book. So we were talking about what's the difference in the people who have hit 9 figures. That's a lot of money. That's $100 million, right? How do they think? Were they lucky or smart? That's a common question that I like to ask on the podcast. How'd you do it? Did you do it alone? Most of the time they're like, no, I don't think we had anyone who really did it alone. I don't think anyone really does it alone. And so in that book, luck is where opportunity meets action. You take action on something, which creates an opportunity, and there's luck. Like, I don't think like you're not just going to win the lottery. That doesn't happen. Like, you're not just all of a sudden have a bunch of money dropped in your bank account. You have to take action
And buy a lottery ticket.
and go buy a lottery ticket, which creates the opportunity for you to get lucky.
Mhm. That's good.
What's your definition? I'm interested. Try to slim it down. Try to
Yeah.
slim it down.
Man, I like it. Sometimes I get a little too analytical, and I would just say, honestly, I don't believe there is luck. I like, for me personally, I believe in God, and I believe God is sovereign over everything. So whatever happens in my life is part of His plan, and to me, like, He designed it that way. But go outside of theology, like the bare bones of it. I love what Braden said. I mean, there's the reality of, like, this appears lucky. Like, shoot, like, even us connecting. How
did that happen?
I sent you a message, just literally telling you to go to a different not even talking about my own coffee. I was telling you to go
To a coffee
check
shop
out,
in Owasso.
yeah, to check out one there, because I think their cortado is good. And then you switched it, and you were just asking about my stuff, and I really wasn't trying to, like, get in the door, right? And that's happened to me a decent amount. There's been times where, like, somebody will just be like, "Hey, did you know he does coffee?" or whatever, and so that's happened a lot. And so, like, at least face value, you got to say this appears lucky, whether or not you believe what's going on in the background is not.
But was I lucky that you reached out and we were able to work something out to where we have a Brews and Business blend, and I'm promoting you and it helps you out, and like, was that lucky, or did you take action and created the opportunity?
Yeah, I think it's both.
Yeah. Are you lucky that you just, like, came across it and you're like, hey, you should try this? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm lucky because we were talking with some other roasters, and they were, like, wanting us to invest and, like, do all this other stuff. I'm like, I can't keep inventory because I don't want to deal with sales tax. I don't want to sell this stuff. I'm like, you can do all the sales. Just I'll buy labels. And they're like, no, you got to have all these, like, pounds. And it'll be like $1,000 and some dollars. A couple of them, I'm like, man, we just can't invest that. Like, we're putting in our own money into this.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
This is our hobby.
Yeah.
Sure is. That's an interesting question. I think after you guys kind of said your piece, I think I have just 2 words that I would explain luck to me, and that's forced opportunity. Sometimes you have to force yourself to do certain things that create opportunity later on down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's luck or not, I don't know. You reaching out to him, you had to force yourself to do something. Why? I don't know. Something in you forced yourself to do it. There's my house right now. There's a lot of luck that could come with it because I got a lot of help from a lot of my village to get that opportunity for my family. And it's like, well, that opportunity only came because I forced myself to do certain things, or certain character traits that I forced myself to have. So that would be the closest thing I can say.
Did you not hit the mic?
I didn't hit it. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, boss.
It was me.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, I would say the easiest way to put it is just forced opportunity, man. Somehow you force that opportunity whether you did it right now or later. You know, you mentioned you sold your mandolin, right?
Mhm.
I sold my race car right before I started my business. I had no plan of starting a business, but I forced an opportunity because I happened to have a little bit of money in the bank and something showed up. Was the big man upstairs paying attention? Probably. Did he have a plan? Probably. But at the time, I didn't know it. I just forced myself to take action, as you said, and it just somewhere along the ways it happens. Devin?
I love that.
I was just gonna say, I think it's a combination of everything you guys just said, of action meeting opportunity. I think like if you don't take action, you know, get certain opportunity. So it's like the action of you was like coming here and reaching out and like hearing about Braden and the whole opportunity to be meeting each other, and then just in general, um, I mean, you can have the opportunity without taking action and like being given those opportunities. And then I would add, because I believe in God as well, and I think you could call it luck, but I would call it faith. There was someone else that was on the podcast that when you guys asked a question, he's like, "Do you get lucky?" What's the question you usually ask? Like, do you get lucky or
Lucky or smart?
lucky or are you lucky or are you smart? And they said, I think they said neither. I think they said they just were faithful in the fact that they're going to be given opportunities if they put in the work.
Who was that?
So
I
like,
remember that conversation.
yeah, but it's kind of a combination between action, given the opportunity, and then faith and knowing that at some point you're going to be in the right place at the right time.
I like that.
Ready to wrap it up?
Let's wrap it up.
That wraps up a fantastic episode of the Brews and Business podcast. A big thank you to Josh Mitchell from Gregoron Coffee Roasters for sharing his journey and expertise with us today. Remember, the official coffee of the Brews and Business podcast is now available for you to enjoy at home. Just head on over to brewsandbiz.com and place your order. What's even better is the coffee you will receive is always roasted to order, meaning it's as fresh as it gets. It doesn't get any fresher than that. Unless you like actually live next door to Josh. That's probably the best situation there, huh? And with Gregoran's coffee subscription service, you'll never have to worry about running out of your favorite brew. Plus, the coffee lineup changes regularly, so you'll always have something new and exciting to savor with each cup. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Keep brewing those ideas, and don't forget to enjoy them with a great cup of Gregoron coffee.
Awesome. It was delicious.
Cheers.
Thanks.